Will be very sad. Okay, this is the cosmetic result according to the two John parameters. It's amazing. Anyway, the patient died. Okay, after 2 years. I myself. So this patient earned just 600 euro of pension per month. So she did a lot of sacrifice for pay for this teeth. So this was the last desire of the patient. She was without teeth for 25 years. Another patient, 82 years old, with double stroke. Okay. She went to her dentist, and her dentist suggested her to keep the root away and place the implants. I mean, eliminates the teeth, wait 3-4 months, and then, so she's in hurry. Okay, she will die. That's why I propose that don't worry, I will do cast post, vertical prep, and we'll fix the problem. I do everything in one appointment, then the impression, and then the delivery, of course. So, you know, cosmetics is not a problem in this patient. So this is the result. This is the other side. I mean, but the goal was satisfied. The patient died after 3 years owing to another stroke. Okay. So I will start with the simple mistakes that I do routinely, and then we'll go in the worst ones. So of course, most of the mistakes in restorative dentistry is because we choose the wrong matrix, always. So in this case, for example, it's very old case, I use a Toffelmeyer bends. Toffelmeyer bends, you know well from my lecture, you create a flat profile, and sooner or later it will break. So in this case, I was lucky 14 years later. Okay. But with good matrix, this would never happen. But sometimes, you know, we introduce new system of matrixing, like in this case. So at that time, is more than 10 years ago, I didn't know that bilayer matrixing should be used just when we have a lot of interdental space, not in tight space. But because I was so enthusiastic of this new matrix system, I tried to apply it on every patient. Isolation. So the matrix was so curved that it crushed against the other tooth, inverted the anatomy. Even worse, I placed the ring, and the situation became even worse. It looks nice. Minimal invasive dentistry, minimal invasive endodontics. But then after 8 months, the crack. So I had many of them. Some are 2 years, some are 3 years, some are 4 years. But always the reason is the wrong matrix. Okay? Always. And then I do a lot of operative mistakes, sometimes because I'm so focused, for example, on Facebook dentistry. So I forget the patients. So in this case, for example, I did the wrong matrixing again. You are in 2014. I used Toffelmeyer bends. I did an even worse situation. I deformed the matrix, varnishing, completely getting a shape that is mechanically insufficient. So that marginal ridge is completely suspended. So, in fact, 2 years later, I got a fracture of the marginal ridge. Anyway, I changed the shape of the filling, I changed the matrixing. Still, after 10 years, I get a collapse. Because, you know, composite is very weak material, okay? It doesn't protect the residual dental structure. Sometimes when the filling is quite huge, it's better to use ceramic. But this is what happens when you follow up. Look at the occlusion of the patient, look at the force. Anyway, root canal treatment because the patient was in pain, and then it's zirconia graft. Of course, there are operative mistakes. You choose the wrong matrix, the right matrix, you choose the right wedge, you do the correct isolation, but for some reason, okay, the wedge becomes dislocated, and then you have a lot of excess of materials. So what you do in this case? You can remove the filling, but this is not a damage to the pulp, because every time you access the tooth, you damage the pulp. So leave it is and forward, that's it, this is what I suggest. And this is what I did 7 years later. Okay, soft tissue in good condition, there is no problem, so the patient will keep these overhangs for the following years. You know, the most frequent problem is when you deliver a crown, it's very frequent, okay, that the patient is high occlusion after cementation. You know, you ask the patient change position, try again, and then at the end, you know. Yeah, the only way is sometimes to destroy the anatomy, okay, that's it. Of course, you will do the photo for Facebook before. But that's, I did many times before. It happens. A crown every 2-3 weeks, okay, I do a lot of adjustment. You know, a big minimal invasive doesn't solve your problems. So you can do your amazing root canal treatment with a small hole, still the tooth will break. Okay, so occlusal coverage in posterior teeth is the best thing you can provide to your patients. And not only occlusal coverage, but occlusal coverage with the serious material, that is metal, that is zirconia, not with plastic, with composite. You know, the worst part of this case is a big failure, because this patient had nothing. This patient suffered of chronic pain, okay? The problem, he came at my office so many times in 2 months, okay, because he had discomfort here, then I decided to do some root canal treatments, okay? So I did root canal treatment that didn't need root canal treatments. After the root canal treatment, the pain moved to the other tooth. Okay. Anyway, the patient disappeared from my practice for 8 years, okay? Because he was not satisfied, okay, with my treatments, he was reason. But he found another dumb dentist as me, so he came back. Okay. And that's why I wrote this failure, because he's my patient again now. I still complain of pain everywhere, but now I know, and don't do anything. So composite. So some people ask me, what do you think about composite always? I did many of them, okay? At 10 years, it's a disaster. Because you know, this is the 4S of composite. Composite trim smear sting and stains, okay? And it stings a lot. Okay, you do your prep, root canal treatments, your rubber there, your isolation, I mean, these are composite always. Okay, this is the post-op result. You can see the double cover. This is the problem even with the ceramic colors in root canal treated teeth. But then you know, so you can see how many excess of cement I get. So I spent 1 hour just for cleaning those excesses. And when you use ceramic, at least you can use the blade. But if you use the blade against the only composite, you crack even the only of composite, so it's even worse. Anyway, 10 years later, the patient came in this situation. Okay, this is the real aesthetics of composite material. Okay, and there is nothing to do. Not only I did occlusal coverage, but the tooth cracked. Okay, because composite flex, it doesn't help. Of course, I tried, for example, the so-called unresistive always. They were popular. They are still popular, okay, among the bioemulation guys. Okay, I was a friend of Gianfranco Politano. That's why I tested this kind of always. So it is a disaster. Okay, at 7-8 years, okay, they fly out, most of them. Okay, let's test. I do. I do the medial dental sealing, then I prep the enamel. all the stuff, no resistance. And that's the first problem. The technician doesn't know how to keep stable this only, even when he do the workshop. And the problem, I have not the right position, I have not an index. So it's a circus. I cannot test the contact area in the mouth of the patients. Because my assistants put the finger, but it slips. Anyway, we put them in the mouth of the patients after 2 hours of work. So they are conservative, I mean, extremely conservative. But then, (2017) 2018, double color, still they are not root canal treated, because it could be even worse when they're root canal treated. But still you see the double colors, it's very ugly. 2019, the first one. In this patient I need 4, they have bonded all 4, so I will just show you one, so it's useless. And then another hour for rebonding in place. If the patient doesn't come in 2-3 days, it moves, and you cannot sit anymore. So, split mouth design is the most powerful way for testing something. I did for many materials and for many designs. In this patient, I did 2 different things in the 2 different parts of the mouth. So you can see the result and you can judge by yourself. In this case, I do the root canal treatments in this part of the mouth. I did a so-called deep margin elevation. And then I prepped my flat only, without any form of resistance. Okay. I just placed a little hole in the composite of 1 millimeter, but just for the index. So the only doesn't slip, I can test the contact area before. Because the other problem, when you use the rubber dam, okay, teeth are pulled out. So you cannot test the only under the rubber dam. It's useless. Because teeth moves under the traction of the rubber dam. You have to test the only before placing the rubber dam. Wedging, all the stuff, tape. Okay, you can see when you do a deep margin elevation, even the anatomy of the oval is not easy to get. Okay, you have to accept some strange shape of the oval. Seven years later, the patient comes with the oval in the hands after 1 week. You can see I lost completely the contact area. Okay. On the other side of the mouth, I did this other design, root canal treatments. But then I did a shoulder with 4 more resistance on the buccal side. Isolation, some plastic, all the stuff. We try to do as best as possible. There is the double color, but it will be worse in a few years. In fact, 7 years later. Okay, the oil is there, nothing changed. Because there is the form of resistance, but this is the cosmetic result. Another disaster. Okay? Sometimes we do very stupid mistakes, like in this case. So of course I extracted those roots and I have an endoperio lesion on the first molar. You can see the CPCT, we have these big endoperio lesions. I do root canal treatments. I wait 3 months the healing, and then I proceed with the crown. This is the strange crown I did, because I didn't prep well, honestly. I didn't prep well in bifurcation, so a medic clinician, owing to the undercuts, has to design the crown in this way. I did an undercuts even on the lingual side. This is the strange shape on the lingual side. Anyway, the time passed, there is the healing into the bone, so we had some biological success. But then, a few months ago, the patient came back with the fracture of the crown. You know, the crown fractured just for one stupid reason, because we do not give enough occlused space. Always, it's always the same reason. In fact, if you say, well, where is the space? So, the abutment is at the same level of the marginal ridge of the other teeth. So I was dumb, the medic clinician was even dumber than me. And we played dumb and dumber every week. Anyway, I reprepped axially, I reprepped occlusally. Okay, I agree with the ground. So these are reversible failures, you can redo. So, sometimes I did so ugly things that you cannot imagine. I will give you just some idea. So these are my first videos, digitally done, but digitally. So look at the photo, look at the fingers, look at the nails. I mean, this was my first camera. It was a Nikon Contix, I don't remember, 1995. So these are the photos, completely inclined. So how I can give information to the technician? Anyway, and this is the result. So everything according to Chujo. So look at this patient. So, you know, sometimes just for making happy the patient. I mean, I try to do something, but without any reason at all. So this is a full rehabilitation. But then let's try with some composite, okay? So look what happens when a disaster. The patient died after 3 years. I didn't see him anymore, but look, it's horrible. I did so many horrible things that's beyond your imagination. You will see. So let's start with the fiasco, double, triple, quadruple. In some patient, we reached even anti-fiascos. You know, in the Christmas Carol of Charles Dickens, okay, Ebenezer Scrooge received on the same night 3 spirits. The ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, the ghost of Christmas future. And this is what I did on this patient, okay? I received these 3 spirits in advance. You know, you see the final part on Facebook, but what I didn't show you on Facebook, for example, is this. I failed in this case. I had a double fiasco, okay? I did root canal treatments 8 years before, I get failures on both. This is a complete strike. A still the patient, trust on me. This is Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, Radoslav was the reason this morning. So this is even worse. So I did root canal treatments in 2008, okay? In 2015, you see the big radiology, the patient starts to have pain. I cannot re-enter the case because I have a fibroblast. It would be a mess. But, you know, I was not so much skilled about apical surgery. I did a lot. But, by the way, in that week, I received my first camera for the microscope. So I was very happy to publish on Facebook something. And this is what I did. On the same day, I published it on Facebook, the video of the apical surgery. So I was so concentrated on the video. Look, I feel just one canal. After 2 weeks, the patient called me back telling that she was swelling again. So I thought maybe there was a root fracture. This is what I saw to the patients. Okay, you have a root fracture, there's nothing to do. But when I struck the root, I understood the problem. You can see the canal down there. Anyway, I placed the implants. Now his 8 years follow-up. The patient sent me all the family. This is another Stockholm syndrome from the patient side. Yeah, that's quite clear. This is a case from 13, 14 years ago, or less, I remember, 12. So in this case, I decided to do 2 veneers. So I don't generally do crowns, but I know, because I want to be more bioevolutive, I decided to do some 2 veneers. So, but the other tooth is not well indicated for veneer. There is a lot of composite that will bend. I did the 3-4 crowns, but anyway, I did the 2 veneers. I still remember it was the 22 of December, okay? I closed the office, so I was eating with my family, and then the patient told me. So I didn't know how to solve the problem because the clinician was off. So I placed some composite, and then anyway, this time I did 2 crowns. This is 9 years later, but I suppose 12 years later, the patient is still with the crowns in the mouth. So. Sometimes you do everything good. You do your perfect shoulder. This is a very old case. You do your beautiful feldspar crowns. But still, when you follow up the patients at 10, 15 years, you see that all the cases go in different directions from what we think on the first day. Completely different. This is another double fiasco. The patient asked me to improve the cosmetics. Okay, I advised them that I cannot improve the biology, the biomechanics. I can improve the cosmetics. This is what I did. I removed the crowns. I redid the post. I redid the build-up. So, beautiful photos do not fix the problem, never. You can do whatever, how many photos you like, beautiful tissue, whatever. Very good for Facebook, but not on the mouth of the patients. Okay, this is the post-op follow-up. Anyway, the first failure. I place an implant, and then again the other one. So sometimes we do like Sisyphus, okay? We do a lot of efforts and we get nothing. Then I place 2 implants, I finish the case. I got there, the Radoslav this morning, well displayed with the... So let's move at the triple fiasco. Look at this case. Patient came to my attention owing to an abscess. So sometimes these root canal treatments for these central, these incisors, there is a fiber post. I should suspect a fracture. By diagnosed a periapical problem. So I did an apical surgery. Yeah. Again, my microscope, I was very powerful with the video. So the patient called me after 2 months and look, I have again swelling. The problem was not a fracture, the dentist did a perforation. Okay, I was focused on the apical side and I didn't understand that maybe there was another problem. So I had to extract the tooth. Anyway, I placed the implants. wait 2 months, I do the crown, but after 3 weeks the patient called me that the crown is moving. Maybe it's a screw it. So I moved very fast. So I was on Google, okay, doing the research. Because every time we have a failure, we go Google, try to do research. And then we go on PubMed, of course. Anyway, the patient loses the, so I cannot say the patient, let's wait another 6 months. I mean, let's do a bridge. Okay, the patient accepts the bridge. I do a zirconia bridge. Everything was perfect. I mean, the patient was super happy. But then, in 2023, first he came with the fracture of the ceramic there. Okay, and after 1 week later, he came with the fracture of the connector. You know, I will show you why this happens. Every time the zirconia bridge breaks, there is one single reason. But I will tell you later about it. Anyway, I reprep, redo the bridge, patient paid again, and then everybody's happy. Yeah, that's, yeah, sometimes we try to please the patient as much as possible. So, okay. So in this case, I am more mature, I work better, I have a better vision, of course, over the years. So I do everything good, honestly. But I decided to do one, because in the lower arch, I will do an overdenture on implants. So in this area, I decided to do 2 elements in extension, okay? It's feasible. With metal ceramic, it's easy peasy. Okay, because I have a denture on the opposite arch, but because there is a denture, I will do in zirconia, it's the same, doesn't matter. You know, period treatments, everything was done in the correct way, honestly. So the patient removed the prosthesis every night, so there is no overloading. But still, the patient called me and said that he felt a click. Maybe there is the overdenture cracked somewhere. The racing cracked somewhere because there is a racing on the overdenture. No, it doesn't, it's not the racing that cracked. It cracked the zirconia. Okay. And always for the same reasons. Anyway, it's easy to retreat. Of course, at your expenses, you do a metal ceramic bridge. Okay, that works every time. You know, zirconia breaks for one reason. The technician doesn't understand. So when you have a span, okay, the span flex according to some parameters. One is the length, but the cubic of the length. So it means that if you double the span, the flexion increase of 27 times. And the only way to cope with the length of a span is not increasing the buccolingual dimension, the width, because the width is not cubic. The only way is to cope with the depth, the occlusal incisal dimension, but you cannot change it, because it depends on the interocclusal space. That's why if you have a long span bridge in zirconia, if you have less than 4 millimeters in height, it's usually your technician enlarge the connector horizontally. Look, I have 12 square meters, yes, 2 here and 6 here. It's useless. You cannot cope. You can cope just with the verticality of the connector. That's why your technician should send you, I have 12 square millimeters and the main axis is vertical, not horizontal. Okay. That's why zirconia bridge cracks. If you have a zirconia bridge with the height of more than 5 millimeters, it's unbreakable. You know, mistakes were done, but not by me. This is the most frequent thing that I said in my life.
How can I get in there?
Yes. After thousands and thousands of extraction, And I was sure, I was confident that it would never happen to me. It happened to me. Passion came to my attention only to pulpitis of this third molar. I did a panoramic, I did the extraction. I cut the roots, but suddenly, when I tried to pull out the major roots, the roots started to go up. Okay, another cut, another stroke, and the root disappeared. One of the worst days of my life. So the roots was there, I'm not a good surgeon. So I decided to follow up the patient. So every 6 months the patient came to my office for a CBCT. So I look what happens. Sometimes it's going in one direction, sometimes it's going in the other direction.
This is where I come to cry.
Oh, sometimes I cry. I'm not joking. You go in the bathroom and you stay there. You know, sometimes you do everything good, but you have to understand that when you follow up the case over time, you see a lot of strange things. When you follow up implants, so you start to see fracture of the implants, even if you do everything good. So this case is very interesting because this patient cracked both implants. He placed the implants 9 years before on the premolars. Okay. So the patient called me telling that he has some discomfort, some pain. Okay, maybe there is some gingival problem, but then I discovered that the implants was fractured. And after 2 weeks, the patient started on the other side. I feel a little bit of pain even there. So no, everything seems good, but this patient cracked. This patient spent all the day standing this way. He had the means. Okay. But I made a mistake in this case. Because when you think that the patient is difficult, you have to create layers of failures. When you do a screwed crown in zirconia, where is the layer of failure? Always the screw, always the implant. If you do a metal ceramic, for example, screwed, at least the ceramic can delaminate from the metals. If you do, for example, a cemented metal ceramic crown, you have another layer of the cement. So patient first can crack the ceramic. If he overloads, then he can decement the crown, and just at the end, he can crack the implants. So that's why when you have a tough case, create layers of failures. And this is what I did in this patient. I already did everything with metal ceramic crown cemented. Okay. Of course, I told the patient it can be decemented because I use 10 bond. I always use 10 bond on implants. When I do cementation, because implants have perfect kinematics, and there's no problem. When you do metal ceramics, create always some step for the hammer. Okay, do not forget. Otherwise, you will not remove the crown anymore, if you need. So no, over time, the implants, so diastema and intrusion are 92% of my single implants, 92%. In some patients, I have to redo the contact area every 2-3 years. I do in composite, I unscrew the ground, put fluoridic acid, but I can do just because in the old case I have metal ceramic with zirconia. How do you bond to the zirconia? And this is another problem with zirconia. You have just to redo the ground. So zirconia is not designed for resting. The same relative intrusion and resting. So a longer is the span, worse is the situation, okay? The implant is good, is in perfect condition after 15, 16 years. But look at the diastema and look at the relative intrusion. It's massive, okay? But this is a 46-year-old patient, I mean, it's not a young patient. So, but let's see what I did, okay, in implantology. You know, nowadays I have acquired some experience, so I've not done this before. So when I do a case, I know how to do the case. I know how to do the mock-up, I know how to do the mock-up, I know how to do the guided surgery. So now it's easy for me to do a result like this, okay, very easy. because I know how to do a mock-up, I know how to plan a guided surgery. I don't use full guided surgery, I use pilot guided surgery for several reasons, except in rare case. Everything is set up since the beginning. It's very easy. So it's easy to do the cosmetics, it's easy to choose the right technician, it's easy to do an hygienic design of the prosthesis, it's easy to do the function, because I know now what I do. And I know which material I should choose. I just choose metal, ceramic, and stone. These cases are easy to me because I know what to do. I know how to plan. I know how to do the surgery. I know how to do the provisionals. I know how to keep the vertical dimension along the workflow. So what I suggest, my opinion, I do a lot of full arch cases. I did till now almost 200 full arch cases. Not big numbers, but enough numbers. Always use metal bars inside the provisional. Always. Okay. I always have a cast or a millet framework on which there is even in provisionals. Because if an implant is lost, PMMI will flex and you will lose everything. This is the provisional. The colors are not perfect, but the shape is just chosen at the mock-up phase. When we do the final workflow, we use good materials because they are the only material that can last in full arch cases. We know where to place the implants, we know where to place the wall, I know everything. But let's see what is behind. Okay, let's go in 22 years before. Okay. So I went in Sweden. I went to the course of Professor Eriksson. He was the most known implantologist at the time. He was placing 5-6 implants and doing a screwed prosthesis in acrylic, okay, with a metal framework. Okay. So I copied him. This is my first case. You can see also the finger. Okay. So we did this is gold framework. We did it 3 times because it was never passing because we was casting at the time. Anyway, at the end we decided to cut, to soldier, but then always problem with passivity. At the end we screwed, that's it. It's not a problem. And this is after 13 years. On the lower arch, I did a suspended prosthesis because at the time in Sweden they were doing suspended prosthesis. This is the acrylic. On the upper arch, instead, after 3-4 years, I did full arch cases with composite. Okay, metal framework and composite. And you can see. So the time advanced. So I did so many reparations. I did so many bad things. And this is the cosmetics. And you cannot imagine the smell of this patient. I recognize him when he entered the office. Of course, soft tissue are in good condition. Still, I have no attached gingiva. You can see, I have no attached gingiva, but after 18 years, at zero hygiene, zero patient is dead. So, honestly, I don't think that attached gingiva is mandatory for the implants. This is my experience. It's important to have immobile gingiva, that is another thing. Of course, a lot of mechanical complications during this case. You can see the wear of the prosthesis. So, another case. So, at that time, I was not using any guided surgery, any mock-up, any wax-up. I just placed implants freehand. And then we'll see with the technician what we can come with. So, extract the teeth all day, place the implants in the same day, it was a circus. And this is what I ended up. is all the radiograph. Okay, this is the final process. I was dumb, and my technician was dumber. Anyway, I didn't notice the problem because you don't know what you don't know. At the time, I didn't know. Look at the hole of the buccal side. So, anyway, the cosmetic result was not bad. Not Chu John style, but you know, a patient of 72, 73 years old. Okay, this teeth, it's enough. 2018, 9 years later. So, I noticed something wrong on these implants. I didn't say anything to the patient. I just asked him the procedure just for cleaning, remove the implants. But this was the hygiene of the patient as well. He didn't notice to stay without one implant. Okay, so asking the implants and receipt. Patient care of the longevity of the prosthesis, not how many implants he has, how many implants he uses. Doesn't matter. You know, after a couple of years, the patient called me, I have some pain in the upper arch. I mean, the patient has no oral hygiene, but believe me, if you do a correct hygiene design of the prosthesis, there is no need to clean. See, this is my fault, it's not the fault of the patient. So you see a lot of, even at the Congress, you see many speakers presenting this kind of design. Believe me, it's a mess. Anyway, the implants are not lost. You do not think that better hygiene has any influence on the implants. See. Anyway, I pruned all the prosthesis. I spent 2 hours in the lab. This chromic cobalt, you know, it's very strong. But anyway, now I have the correct design. What I should do from the first day. Years later. Of course, this is the patient has the same approach. 15 years later, I mean. So I saw the patient 2 weeks ago on the street, I mean, not on the office. So despite all that hygiene, despite all my mistakes, despite all freehand style, okay, the implants are there and the prosthesis is there. The patient is now, he's 85 years old, I mean, or 86, I remember, precisely. So maybe he will die with this prosthesis.
Unthinkable.
Yeah, the unthinkable too, that's, yeah, this is what I feel sometimes. This is mine, this is mine. In this patient, I did a full arch case of the upper arch, and the same day I placed 2 implants on the lower incisors, and I placed this prosthesis. The patient never showed up at the office till the day that the prosthesis starts to move. You know, but I did the same design on the upper arch, but you can see that the implants are still in good condition. So I lost the lower implants, probably because they were not good since the first day. Anyway, we don't know. So, but it was completely banzai in many years of my life. So in this patient, this is the photo of the technician, look. Anyway, I decided to extract the teeth the same day to place the implants, without any mock-up, nothing. By heart. Anyway, this is the same day impression. In the same day, I placed 2 implants in the lower arch because there were 4 missing incisors. This is the provisional prosthesis after some months.
We did, for the final prosthesis, a metal framework with the layering of composite. Look at the design of the prosthesis. Okay, same design, same dentist, same technician. Okay, the cosmetic was not bad, but look at the color of the gingiva. Very good. So, you know, patient after 10 years, okay, she started to have some issues. So look what happens to the composite material. I mean, you can do whatever you want after 8, 10 years. Composite is very, very bad. Very. This is in the upper arch. This is the design of the system. So this patient clean. That's why you don't find any material inside. But look at the problem of creating concavities. This is in the lower arch, okay? "12 years later, the patient lost one implant, so I just screwed on one implant. Still went on. The patient died 2 years ago, owing to a melanoma. Okay, cancer. So, go settle. So till now, on all the full arch cases I did, I never lost one full arch cases. But not because of me, because many died. So if at the first you don't succeed, try 2 more times so that your failure is statistically significant. This is what I did. I repeated again the same mistakes. So how it should be, it's very easy how it should be, okay? It should be in this way, no, in this way. It should be in this way. Look at this other case. 2014. Okay, patient came to my attention having a denture on the upper arch and a failing dentition on the lower arch. So we decided to do a zygoma case in the upper arch and a full arch cases on 4 implants on the lower arch. We did 2 metal frameworks and then we layered in composite. Okay, this is the final impression. This is the metal framework layer with composite. So the cosmetic result was not bad. But 1 year later, look at the composite, it starts to change. 2016, change. 2017, 2018, 2019. Look what is happening at the zygoma, okay? They are starting to expose because they are completely extra sinusal. They are inside there. And this is one of the drawbacks of the zygoma implants. So look what is happening in the lower arch. Okay, something is going south. Anyway, nothing moves. 2021, look at the composite. Focus on the composite. 2015. Okay. The situation is worsening. The patient got a cancer now, a breast cancer. Maybe she will die before all the system fail. Because here I have no plan B. After zygoma, there is no plan B. Even the denture will not fit.
There is. Stroke.
Huh?
Stroke.
With
smoothing.
Stroke-based dentistry.
Yeah.
So another banzai case. Patient came in this condition. I decided to do full arch cases by heart. I mean, do these photos, this panoramic, without any CBCD, the same day extractions and implantation, without mock-up, nothing. This is the provisional procedure. That's it. Implant are not so bad, honestly. Anyway, for come up with the problem with the bucket hole, we decided to do a metal framework that cost me a lot of money, and then ceramic crown, okay, on the bar. This way we can cover the holes. Okay, the cosmetic result was not so bad. Time passed, 9 years later, 30 years later, the process is there, still I did banzai, dentistry is still there. So lower arch starts to fail. So I decided to extract the incisors and do a bridge on the remaining dentition. Maybe we can go on for another 5-6 years. So vertical prep, metal framework, do not mess up, metal ceramic. But then,
He died.
patient called me after 6 months, he had a click. The ceramic is gone, okay. But no, it's not the ceramic. The patient cracked the bar, the metal bar in the upper edge. Because when he had single teeth that moved, it was not a problem. But when I cross-touched the teeth and the unit became rigid, all the stress concentrated in the center, and because the bar was thin, because I did all this crown, okay? So I told him, don't worry, because now it's better, because they can move more freely. Patient, it's okay. Because redoing this work, it will be very expensive, okay? You do your perfect full arch case on your basic, okay, metal framework, denture, acrylic teeth, and then you start to see this, okay? Grinding 6 months later, 12 months later. In some cases, I had to repair every 6 months. In some full arch cases with racing are very, very bad. Especially when you're opposing arch, you have another full arch cases like in this case. So do not use plastic or whatever nature. This is another case, another banzai, this is 12 years later. So patient is happy, that's the strange thing. So in this case, we tested, because at that time the brand marketed some veneers for the full arch cases. Okay, so what we did? We did a metal framework, we put some composite, then we glued these veneers. But the veneers start to detach every 2 weeks. So what I did, I made a hole in the veneers and bought one and bought the other. Look. But the implants are still there. So look, it seems that I replaced the implants a few days ago. This is 15 years later. The patient called me some months ago because look what happened at the center. Because the prosthesis was not hygienic. Anyway, now the patient is 86 years old. We left in this world. So, sometimes I feel an imposter. Believe me, I'm not joking. Because when you do all these mistakes, you start to think maybe I'm not a good dentist. No matter what if you don't, there comes a point where you think, how did I get here? When they are going to discover that I am in fact a fraud. This is honestly patient. Don't think that I'm good. Okay, by ruling many patients. With very stupid mistakes that are easily avoidable. So this patient came to my attention because they did full arch cases. With the same design I did. Okay, with the concavity everywhere. And look what happens. Okay, he did worse than me, but more or less. So, okay. Anyway, I redid the prosthesis. Okay, this was the bad prosthesis that I did. The patient came just with this indication of the implants, and this is what the dentist gave her. Look at the passivity. Anyway, this prosthesis stayed in the mouth for 8 years. So that prosthesis, with zero passivity, zero, with that hygienic design, stayed in the mouth for 8 years. Anyway, we did the treatments completely over also the upper arch. Anyway, let's go fast. Of course, I did an hygienic design. Everything was fine, but then, after a few years, okay, the patient came back with the same problem again. Despite the hygienic design, this patient is predisposed to have this kind of issue. So I had to cut again the soft tissue and reset the procedures. But then, in 2013, 2023, I had another problem. I had a fracture of the lower procedures. So you have a tension of the upper arch. You have a full arch cases on the lower arch with the metal framework and the resin, and you have not a crack on the denture, but you have a crack on the metal. Yes, because if you do a metals of 0.304 millimeters, technician fault, it will be disaster. The denture of 3 millimeters is stronger than 0.4 millimeter of metal that flex every day. Anyway, I repaired it, I cut soft tissue, and the patient gone. Yeah, this is true. Dentist is one damn thing in many cases after another. I've been there. Anyway, now I am more mature, I do better dentistry, still I get problem. So I plan everything perfectly. I did the metal ceramic in the upper arch, and we decided to do a lower arch in acrylic, just for creating a stress reliever for the upper ceramic. Okay, so we knew that we will have problem on the lower arch. But the problem, the patient has no problem on the upper arch. Anyway. But everything starts very bad, because I commissioned this work to one of the best labs in Rome. I paid 4,000 euro for the double arches, but this work came back in this condition. So I sent back the work. They did the work, everything was fine. You know, but the day of delivery, the patient. So I was very depressed, because I had to fly to Australia the same night, because I was in England. It was the worst 5 days in Australia I ever spent. Anyway, I told the patient, do the radiograph every 2 days, we'll see what happens. Likely after 5 days, the patient expelled the... You know, but sometimes we are too focused on what we do. Because, you know, during these days, I try to do some anxiolytics, okay, but in the literature, I mean, not as drugs. In fact, I found this paper, okay, later, but I found this paper many years later, that's the problem. Because if I had read this paper, what the fuck, this patient, look, what did happen? He is still alive. How I can fear that the patient eat a little driver? Look at this patient. So if this paper were published some years ago, I would have had better sleep for those days. Anyway, this patient starts bad, despite I plan everything honestly, amazingly. Okay, I can't compare anything, but still that technician ruined my life. First, 2019, first fracture. Because look how thin is the metal framework. 0.5 millimeter on an extension. 2013, I got another fracture. So he repaired the work, but then he got his other fracture. So I asked him, do a better reparation. So what did he? Did a reparation. But I didn't feel confident. So what I did, I cut the tooth. And so look, the last tooth was without bar again. So we did again the same mistakes. So I paid 4,000 euro plus 1,000 euro reparations for nothing. 2014, the patient break also the other side because it was thin as well. Anyway, it is the lower arch, the patient complained less. Okay. You know, you plan everything good, but then in that period I start to do the laser melting framework, okay, and ceramic. I had a lot of problems. Ceramic starts to laminate from the cervical side, in many cases. I had to do a lot of works. So do not use laser melting for crown on teeth. Use laser melting on the implants as a metal framework, but not on teeth. So here, full arch case of the upper arch, everything planned, guided surgery. Fresh. We decided to do a cemented prosthesis. Everything was fine. Till we used the same laser melting metal. Okay? Even this patient, we had the same problem. In this patient, I did nothing because there was not a tooth on the legs. The patient is still here. 7 years later, same patient, and that's interesting, came with the terminal dentition in the lower arch, and we decided to do a full arch cases, also in the lower arch. Everything was perfect, easy surgery, guided. I mean, I just opened the flap just for looking better at the bone, the level of the bone. Perfect impression, perfect photos, perfect provisions. Provisional with the metal framework and layered with acrylic. Hygienic design. The patient called me after a few days, seeing that she feels a little bit uncomfortable. So incredibly, okay, everything was moving, everything. So the only implant that was good was that implant, okay? Even these other ones were mobile. I just left the implants just for keeping the prosthesis for a couple of months, time to replace the implants and do the surgery. Anyway, I replaced the implants, I just left the one that was integrated. Look, dead implants, I don't know why. Okay, it's still integrated. I did the prosthesis, everything is fine now, the patient now is 3 years old, everything is. You know, overdenture, I did a lot of overdenture, but over time, okay, especially in Braxer patient, I have a lot of problems. When you have an opposing dentition and you do raising acrylic, you have to understand that this patient will destroy the acrylic very easily. Look what he did, okay? In a few years. You know what happens? If you have if large cases, we have no extrusion for compensation. That's why when you wear the mandible, do one rotation, a patient go in class 3. Okay? This is one of the problems we have in full arch cases with acrylic. When the wear is a lot, teeth can extrude, but not implants. So the patient goes forward. Overdentures 8 years later. Look at the wear, okay? So I don't think that all the cases are the same. That's why do not lose time with dentures, okay? There will be other anyway. You know, in this patient, I had to place the implants 3 times because I placed the implants. Do the healing, do
do the impression, screw the ground, 3 months, mobilization. Again, wait, another implant, another 3 months, another ground, after 3 months, again. Till the third implant, okay, still in the mouth. You know, nowadays use guided surgery, at least for the pilot tool, because nowadays it's very easy. It costs 20 euro for doing a guided surgery. I mean, there is no reason to do that kind of job. Okay, that's stupid. I did so many times that it's so stupid. Now it's very easy to place the implants in the right position without any headaches. So, or you choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And because I have too much regret, now I am on the track of discipline. So, last case. So I did this case in front of two John. He came to my village, okay, for meeting me. I don't know why. I was so down. So anyway, he came to my office. So I did that several cases, but this is one case that failed. I did with him. So the patient came owing to pain. This tooth was root canal treated. I did the retreatments. This is the pre-op radiographs. Both teeth were in pain. There was a huge lesion. Okay, you can see the radiographs for both teeth. I do double endodontic retreatments. On one tooth, I did a flat only, but just because there was two John, I want to show you the vertical prep and the biemulation approach. That's why I did this kind of stuff. I did a Nemax crown on one tooth and a flat onless on the others. In the measure route, I was not able to pass, okay? The time passed. This is the immediate post-op. 2013, patient came back because he has pain now, okay? He has again pain after 8 years. So, and we noticed that we had a perfect healing on the second molar, but then the lesion on the medial side increased. So I decided to do the apical surgery, but look, I didn't do a perfect apical surgery. Anyway, the patient was good, but he died owing to a cancer after 7 months, more or less. Okay. So I don't know if this apical surgery will be successful or not. Okay. So we advanced thanks to progressive improvements, but mostly thanks to funerals. Yeah. So, thank you for your attention.